Shalom Aleichem, sweetest friends. We are continuing our previous shiur. This is actually the fourth segment of our shiurim on the topic of over Liasiyasan and the yesod that we've proved so many different ways and we've seen so many chidushim is that the purpose of the bracha before the mitzvah is that the mitzvah should be colored by the bracha. It should be a bracha-dika mitzvah, which means that the mitzvah is now being done for the Shem HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's being done to fulfill the will of Hashem. And therefore it's important that the bracha be made before the mitzvah in order that the mitzvah should have that form, should have that nature of being Shem Hashem. And that's how we explain the shaliach makes the bracha, even though it's not his kiyum mitzvah, because he's doing a ma'isa mitzvah, and the ma'isa has to have a mitzvah with it. And we also saw, for example, the shita that hashochet below bracha shchitas psula, because he's a mummer, also davar, as we saw. And in order to be Yehuda, because it's a mumrus on the shchita, because now the shchita, the bracha impacts the shchita. If it doesn't make a bracha, then it's not a proper shchita. We saw a lot of different sources that bear out this idea. And with this, we can now understand the lashon of over Liasiyasan that Yehuda and Shmuel said. And we said that over means samuch. Over Liasiyasan, why didn't it just say kodem Liasiyasan? It means right next to the asiyah. In other words, lorak kodem, it's not just prior to the act. But rather, right next to the act. Because it has to have a siyachasis to the act. It has to relate to the act that you're doing this bracha. So it's not just being done before, 5 minutes before, but right before. And this way, this mitzvah has the bracha together with it. It's a package deal, it's a sandwich. And the Gemara brings the pasuk of Ayaretz Achimot Zerech HaKikar. Tell David about the death of Avshalom. Vayavor es HaKushi. And he was makdim the Kushi. So he was after him. First he was behind him. And then Avar oisoi v'hikdima. Then he passed him. In other words, we see that this oiver is a hityachasut. There is a hityachasut between Achimaatz and the Kushi that he passed. As bevadai anyanu ma'aseh b'yachas elav v'kevan she'ikar inyan ha'akdama וכדי לייחס את הברכה למצווה שלאחריה. שעל ידי זה המצווה מוגדרת כמצווה שיש עליה ברכה. So it has to be right next to the mitzvah, so the mitzvah is a bracha-dika mitzvah. And therefore we use the lashon of over, that there is this yachasus between, over means before. He was makdim the Kushi, but it also means there's a relationship between him and the Kushi. He passed by the Kushi. Just like the bracha, so to speak, passes through the mitzvah. Because kodem doesn't necessarily mean there's a shaychus between the two. But over, as we see in the pasuk, does mean there's a shaychus between the two. Now we understand beautiful lashon of over Liasiyasan. And we also understand the kash of Manolan, like we asked in the first shiur. What's the Minolan? Where do we know? We ask, what do you mean, where do we know? What do you mean, where? We already have Makoros of Rav Papi and Rav Papa, but the bracha has to be before. So what do we bring another Amorah for? An Amorah to bring a Raya Minolan? We already have the other Amorah. So what is it most to have a Yehuda and Shema? The answer is, שאנחנו מחפשים את הטעם, ולא רק את המקור. אנחנו מוצאים את reason not only do you have to make a bracha prior, but you have to make a bracha over Liasiyasan. That there has to be a yachas between the bracha and the mitzvah. So just saying that it's done before, so if that we already have Papi and Rav Papa, like we saw in the Gemara, the Kulei Alma, you make the bracha before, but how do you know there has to be a siachasis between the bracha and the mitzvah? And from that, with that we get, and it also explains, we have a makar that there has to be a siachasis, and explains why it has to be before. What's the time? And the answer is that it should be a mitzvah dika, a bracha dika mitzvah. That the mitzvah should be colored by the bracha, should be shaped by the bracha, should be impacted by the bracha. Because this bracha is saying that you're doing it for Hashem, and therefore it has to be right before the mitzvah. Now we understand the Minalan, even though we already have other sources, but that it's over Liasiyasan, that we didn't have a source for. Now we have a time. The over Liasiyasan is the time, because we said over means that there's a yachas, like Vayavor, past him. That the bracha should sort of pass through, it should be makdim. There it came before, he ran before him, but here also, you run the bracha before, so there's a relationship between the bracha and the mitzvah. And with this we can understand the difficulty in the sugi here in Sukkah that we started with, Lamites, and in Psachim, Kuf Yud Tes Amud Beis, that Abai said and the Mishnah said about Hallel, that Makom Shinagu Levarech Acharav Yivarech, Kol Kemenega Medina. That if the minhag is to make the bracha afterwards, then you do Kemenega Medina. But that's only La'acharav. But Lefanav it's a mitzvah, it's not totally Kemenega Medina. Lefanav it's a mitzvah, because Rav Hidor Mashmuel says, Kol mitzvah varech aleim oser avalasu v'tzarech aleim over Liasiyasan. Wait a second. Rabbi Yehuda Mashmuel was only mechadish the din of over Liasiyasan. But the etzem din of birchas ha-mitzvahs, we already learned from the Mishnah that we quoted in the previous segment of Meiser Sheni Perek Hey Mishnah Yud Aleph, and in the Gemara in Brachos and Daf Mem Amud Beis from the Pesukim of Vidui Meiser, and Ba'arichos in the Tosefta and Perek Vav of Brachos. There they're mefarit in Nusach HaBrachos. And Eichet in the Sugi and Shabbos Daf Kuf Lamed Zayin Amud Beis B'Birchas Hamila, and in the Brises in the Sugi and Pesachim Daf Zayin Amud Beis, and also later on in Daf Mem Vav Amud Aleph and Sukkah, and also in the Yerushalmi in Brachos Perek Vav Halacha Aleph. That we darshan Birchas HaMitzvahs from Pesukim. Rashi in Brachos Mem Ches Amud Beis also he brings from Pesukim and Shmuel. So the moment the Gemara says that the bracha la'achareha is talui in minhag, it's makom shenagu, and we have many, many sources that there's such a thing as a birchas ha-mitzvah, that you have to make a bracha on the mitzvah. So when are you going to make that bracha? Before. So we already have many sources that you make a bracha. All those that I enumerated are all talking about the bracha before, because they're telling you to make a birchas ha-mitzvah. And we learn in the Gemara that the bracha la'acharav is only a minhag medina. So therefore the bracha that we have in all those sources is going to be a mitzvah, so it must be that it's before. That beforehand is a mitzvah. So what are we asking for a makor? That you make a bracha beforehand. We have many makoros. So that's the chiddush of Rabbi Yehuda Mashmuel. So what's Abai bring for Rabbi Yehuda Mashmuel? We have asach makoros. And there's also a difficulty in the Gemara in Megillah, and Daf Chaf Aleph Amud Beis. There the Gemara is told in Birchas HaMegillah b'makom shenagu. And Abaye says, yeah, that's the fanah, you have to make a bracha. It's only afterwards. But the fanah, you have to make a bracha from Rabbi Yehuda Mashmuel. Why doesn't he just bring from the fact that you have to make a Birchas HaMitzvahs? That's not Toloi in Minhag. Because the Mishnah, when it says that it's Toloi in Minhag, that's obviously talking about the bracha shel achareh, but the bracha shel fanah we have many sources for. So why do we have to come on to Rabbi Yehuda Mashmuel? We have many earlier sources. the Torah Evan was already conscious of this kasha. And what he says there doesn't solve our problem. Ayin Sham Sefer HaKadosh Tureh. Based on what we said, it's beautiful. Because if not for the words of Rabbi Yehuda and Shmuel, we would think that Berachos HaMitzvahs are only Midin Hodah V'Shevach. And then you could say that Hallel is Kol Kulo Shevach. So you don't need to be Mishabech with the bracha. The whole word of the bracha is just Shevach. And Hallel is the Etzem Shevach. Then you don't need the added bracha. And therefore it's only Talui in Makom Shenagu. Because you don't have to make a bracha because it's already Shevach. And so to create a Megillah. Gemara says in Megillah, Daf Yudalad Amud Aleph, Kriyas is Alila. So the Kriya is a Hallel. So you don't have to say Hallel on Purim. The Kriya is the Hallel. So if the Kriya is the Hallel, if the Kriya is a Shevach, if the whole Megillah is just a praise of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then you don't need a bracha. So for that, the Gemara brings, no, Rabbi Yehuda and Shmuel says you make a bracha over Liasiyasan. What does this over mean? That there's a hityachasut between the bracha and the mitzvah. That the mitzvah needs a bracha. It has to be right before. It has to be colored by that bracha. Because you have to show why you're doing the mitzvah. לכן הגמרא מביאה, רבי יהודה אמר שמואל, הוא מדבר על עובר לעשייתם, עם כל הביאורים בלשון עובר, שהובאו שם בסוגיות הגמרא, שמבואר מהם עניין נוסף בברכה, שהברכה פועלת במצווה עצמה. הברכה פועלת במצווה, the bracha impacts the mitzvah. שבזה פשוט, לא שונה מצוות הלל, וגם מצוות קריאת המגילה משאר כל המצוות, שתקנו ברכה עליהם, כדי להשווי בהם, ליצור בהם, את מה שפועלת הברכה במצווה. We have to make this mitzvah a brachatik a mitzvah. ולכן הגמרא תלתה את החיוב מה שאמר רבי יהודה אמר שמואל, not מצד בעצם חיוב of ברכס המצווה, because then you would think it's just Shevach. But if you hear Amar Shmuel, you see it's not just Shevach. That it's an ashvuye in the mitzvah. It creates a new mitzias in the mitzvah. As we explained at length in all of the previous year, previous 2 shiurim. ובזה יבואר מה שכתב כאן תוספות בדיבור המתחיל עובר and Tosfos Pesachim and דיבור מסחר בעדנה ומיישיב the kasha on Birchas Hallel on Birchas Halulav, excuse me. The Gemara says that you make al, because you make kara mashma. It's talking about what we did before. Why? Because be'idna da'agba nofak be. The moment you pick it up, you're yotzei. Tosfos, how do you make a bracha after your yotzei? It needs to be over Liasiyasan. And Tosfos answers that even though you're yotzei, you're still oisek b'mitzvah because you have to do the shaking, you have to do the nanuim. So you can still make the bracha. Frek the shagas aryeh, simin chof aleph. That if that's true, nimtza sheha bracha Yala nanua. The bracha is on the shaking. And only on that is an over Liasiyasan. And therefore you should make the bracha with the lamed. Leh, because that's mashma lahaba, and not al, which is mashma meikara, al natilas lulav. You should say alito lulav. Because you're not making the bracha for Ekta Shagas Aryeh on the taking of the lulav. You're making the bracha on the shaking of the lulav. How do you figure that? So why are you making an al? You should make a li on what you're going to do in the future. Ayin sham in the Shagas Aryeh. Based on what we said, it would appear. Explain Rav Mani. Since we explained that the inyan of Oiver Liasiyasan is not just an inyan of koidem and of kadima, of doing it first, ele inyan shel hityachasut, v'alidei sheyesh hityachasut ben habracha lamitzvah, yesh chalut shel bracha b'mitzvah atzma, there's a chalois bracha in the mitzvah. So as long as we don't have a problem of mashenasa kvar nasa, like we saw the lashon of the Rambam in Hilchas Ishus in a previous segment, since you're still osek in the mitzvah, so if you say a bracha now, the bracha is chal on the whole ma'isa mitzvah. As long as you're not finished yet, as long as you're still in the process, there's a chalos bracha on the whole ma'isa mitzvah. Because it's a mitzvah nimsheches. Just a continuous mitzvah. So even if I make it before the nanuim, the moment it's chal on the nanuim, it's chal on everything. On the mitzvah b'chlalusa. So when I already finished the mitzvah, finished. It's too late. Too late. It's not chal anymore in the mitzvah. But as long as I'm still involved in the mitzvah, it's chal on the mitzvah, this bracha, which is exactly what we've been saying. And the mele tzchal not only in the nanuim of lahaba, but also on the netilas lulav of lo the shavar, and therefore al is the appropriate nusach, because it's also going on the al. So it's beautiful. The bracha is also going on the netila, and there's no chisaron that it's not over Liasiyasan, because it's still going to be before the nanuim. So it's over Liasiyasan. Now it's chal on the whole ma'isa mitzvah, and that includes the netila. And it's like what it says here in Tos Dibur Maschil over in a Pesachim. Dibur Maschila legabe netilas yadayim. You make the bracha after the netila, since you still haven't dried your hands, right? You know that. You do netilas yadayim, you make the bracha, and then you dry. Because the bracha is also going on the dry. Because if you eat without with niguv yadayim, it's kilo oichal lechem tameh. Ayin sham u'v'rosh p'sachim u'mashe kosav v'zeh b'sefer beis halevi b'chelik beisim and yudalid ayin sham. Arei pashut she'eina bracha l'niguv ela l'netila. It's pashut that the bracha is not on the drying of the hands; it's on the netila. That's why you make al netila sedayim meikara mashma. Why? So what's the pshat? The pshat is, as long as you still haven't finished the netila, because the netila needs the niguv, which is the gemar netila, the bracha is still shaykh on everything. And since the bracha is shaykh on everything, because you haven't yet finished, so it also goes back on the netila. It's the same thing with the lulav. As long as you still haven't done the nanuim, it can go back on the netila, and then it covers, the skat chavilah covers the whole thing. And this we also see from the Ritva and Psachim, mamish. Chiddush agabe chiddush agabe chiddush. Siyata d'shmayim. That the Ritva and Psachim says that even though you can make the bracha after the netila machmas hananuim, because you're shaking the arba minim, nevertheless, when you're misalik, when you remove the arba minim from your hand and then you take it back, so the bracha is no longer coming al mitzvah satorah. You took the arba minim, put it in your hand, put it down, and now you want to pick it up and do the nanuim. No, it's ishpeit, it's too late. Because now you're not making the bracha al mitzvah satorah, you're making the bracha on the nanua, which is shiurei mitzvah midivrayim. It's a rabbinic remnant of a mitzvah. Al zein levarech. Ayin sham in the ritva. So we see lahedi on the ritva that as long as there was no hefsek, the bracha is not on the nanuim, like the Shagas Aryeh said, but rather it's on the netila. The bracha is on the netila. You just need to be before the when there was a hefsek, then it's already too late. Mashanasa u'farnasa. There's no way to make a bracha anymore. But as long as there was no hefsek, the mitzvah is nimshach. So you could still make the bracha And now the bracha covers everything. And then anuim alone, you're not making a bracha. That's clear. And therefore the Ritva says, if you have a hefsek, and then it's just going to be on the nanuim, lo yazil klum, can't do it. So therefore, you say like this. As long as you're still holding it in your hand, if you're going to do the nanuim, the mitzvah is a mitzvah nimsheches. Now you can make the bracha because you're still before the end of the mitzvah. And now the bracha is going back on the netila. You just need the nanuim so that you're still in the process of the mitzvah. The bracha is primarily on the netila. You don't have a bracha just on nanuim, that's a shirei mitzvah. It's explicit in the Rad, in our sugya. He also writes that it's because of the nanuim. Feel tois. Hilkoch. Shapir mikri oiver la'asiyasa sheloi bolemait el shein goyrim es ha-mitzvah kulo koidim shiyavarich aleh. And therefore it's called oiver la'asiyasa because we're only coming to exclude that you didn't finish the mitzvah before you made the bracha. So it's mafurish that the ikr here is that you didn't finish the mitzvah. As long as you didn't finish the mitzvah, you can still make the bracha. It's still in the category of oiver la'asiyasa, but the bracha is going primarily back on the netila. We also see this in the Torah in Orach Chaim, Siman Tov Reish Nun Aleph. The Torah in Orach Chaim, who writes on the bracha of the lulav, that you should make the bracha after netilas lulav, but before netilas esrog. Because then he's mezumin the mitzvah. Prepared for the mitzvah. Ayin sham in the Torah. So you have the lulav in your hand, the esrog is coming soon, then you make the bracha. Frek the bach, according to the sheet of the Rosh and the Torah, that if you have all Arba Minim in front of you, Ein ma'akrim zeh zeh. So then you're ready, since they're not ma'akev, if they're all in front of you, they're not ma'akev, then you're ready, yotzei dei choves lulav, v'netilos halulav b'yada. Ve'ein kan over la'asiyasan ala. There's no over la'asiyasan, you already did the mitzvah. You ready, yotzei with the netilos lulav? It's not over la'asiyasan. He writes that nevertheless, linyan bracha, it's considered over la'asiyasan, as long as you haven't taken all the daled minim. Even though afterwards you yotzei l'mafreya. Look there, look in the Sha'ar Tzion and Sif Katan Chav Ches. And that the Gra writes not like that. And that's exactly what we've been saying, this bach. That as long as you haven't finished the mitzvah, the bracha is chal and everything. So he takes the lulav, he makes the bracha, then he takes the esrog, and the bracha is chal back on the lulav as well. Because we don't say mashanasek varnasa. Because the bracha is chal on the mitzvah. As long as you're still involved in the mitzvah, the bracha can cover the whole mitzvah. Look in the Tshuvas of Rabbi Kiva Eger, in Ma'adura Tinyana, in Siman Yud Gimel. He discusses bracha acharei hadlakas ner Chanukah. Nil paskin. Kov se'ein zakukla. We paskin that if it goes out, you don't have to rekindle. Kov se'ein zakukla. And you can't compare it to lulav before the nanuim. Because there, if the person's not minaneya, el shokol nish dem arba minim, if he doesn't shake his arba minim, then he's lacking the mitzvah of nanua. But b'ner Chanukah, after hadlaka, the shir haroi, even if it goes out, he's mekayim the mitzvah legamre. You can't make a bracha. It's too late. Kav sein zakukla. But midivrei harosh, the Kiva Eger is medayik, that you should make a bracha. Rabbi Kiva Eger had a problem with that. How do you make a bracha? It's too late. It already lit. You did your mitzvah. And Kav saying Zakuk La. So based on what we said, you can answer very beautifully. And Pasha. It's not true. As long as there's a hemshech of the mitzvah, you don't say Mashanasa Kvar Nasa. As long as the candle is lit, there's still a kiyum mitzvah. You're right, there's not a chiyuv anymore. He lit. He did his mitzvah. And if it goes out, he doesn't have to rekindle it. That's all true. But as long as the mitzvah is nimsheches, as long as the mitzvah is continuing, you can still make the bracha. And it's still called over Liasiyasan because it's still before the rest of the mitzvah. And then it's chal also on what you did before, as we've been saying all along. Maybe you can say, no, the hemshech, he's not doing anything. He's completely passive. Like we said earlier, the mitzvah nasis al yidei shliach, she'ein makom lebirchas hamishalech, that the shliach should make the bracha, like we discussed at length in the previous year, that the shliach makes the bracha, and not the mishalech, because by the shliach there's a kiyum. You know, it's not his mitzvah, it's the mitzvah of the mishalech. So if you're not doing anything, how do you make a bracha? The only thing is, maybe this person already did. He already did a ma'aseh mitzvah. He already did the lighting. So he can still make the bracha. Like the Ramah says in Orach Chaim, Siman Reis Samach Gimel Sifei, on the bracha b'dlakas ner b'erev Shabbos. You can make the bracha after the hadlaka. Because if you make the bracha before, you're already makabel Shabbos. How do you get over Liasiyasan? Not to be nana. So the ladies close their eyes, cover their eyes, and then they're make the bracha, and then they're nana afterwards. So it's still over Liasiyasan. Because the bracha didn't end until you're nana. So since the bracha didn't end until the mitzvah didn't end until you're nana, so therefore the woman, she can light, and the bracha is still over Liasiyasan because as long as she wasn't nana, the mitzvah is still going on. She lights, she covers her eyes, and then she makes the mitzvah, and then she's nana from the ner. So here also, you already did the lighting, and now that there's a hemshech of the kiyum mitzvah, you can still make a bracha. Maybe there could be mechalek, maybe there the hanaz the ma'aseh mitzvah. And therefore, you could still make a bracha before the hana, but here the hana is not the ma'aseh mitzvah by Ner Chanukah. Maybe it's too late. Yesh ladun harbe b'divrei Rabbi Akiva Eiger. V'yem b'tshuvas chasam sofer b'yerideh b'siman reish mem zayin, and it's chedushim to Shabbos. Kuf Lamed Zayin Amud Beis and Pesachim Zayin Amud Beis. We had a difficulty with the rush. Shabbos Kuf Lamed Zayin Amud Beis and the bracha of Lachniso. You can say it between the Mila and the Priya. Even though it's like Netilas Yadayim before the drying of the hands. The drying of the hands is like a hemshech. But how do you say lachniso b'vriso shel Avram Avinu if Avram Avinu wasn't given priya? Priya is after you do the cutting and you split the foreskin. You split the skin that's still there after the chituch. You do priya, but it wasn't. How do you make a lachniso b'vriso shel Avram Avinu if Avram Avinu wasn't given priya? So how do you make the bracha before the priya? Lachniso b'vriso shel Avram Avinu. That's not over Liasiyasan. Based on what we said, you can answer beautifully. That we have this din of over Liasiyasan, that it has to be before. It has to be before the complete mitzvah. When you make the bracha before the mitzvah is completed, it's chal on the whole mitzvah. It's like the nanuim. You know, the nanuim isn't a mitzvah min haTorah. It's a shiurei mitzvah rabbanan, but as long as you're still involved in the mitzvah of Arbamin, so the brachas chal not only in the nanuim, the brachas chal even on the netilah before. So here also, as long as you're still in the process of doing the mitzvah of bris milah, you can make the bracha of lachnitz of bris shal Avram Avinu, and then it's going to count even on what was before. You're Makayim over Liasiyasan, that it's before the Priya. And then the bracha is also chal on the chituch, which was given to Avram Avinu, because you're still in the process of the mitzvah. So if we wouldn't have a din of over Liasiyasan and a person would make the bracha after the milah, it wouldn't be a problem, because you're thanking God for the milah that was given to Avram Avinu. What's our only problem? The problem is we need it to be over Liasiyasan. Okay, so you got over Liasiyasan. You got over Liasiyasan. How are you makayim that? Because you still haven't finished. As long as you still haven't finished, so then it's considered over Liasiyasan. So you accomplished the over Liasiyasan. And then lahachnisel goes beautifully on what was before as well. That would answer the problem of the Chasim Sofer, how you can make it between the Milah and the Priya. So, B'siyata D'Shmaya, Nachnu Imshachnu B'Sugya, we saw a lot more, new Chedushim in different areas of halacha, brachos. And B'siyata D'Shmaya, HaKadosh Baruch Hu should give us the koach and the moach, the simchas chayim, and the financial means. And hopefully we will continue, hopefully in this year, Siyata D'Shmaya, and many other topics to come. So, Torah was Pilei Plos. So I thank you for listening, and Shmizocha Lilmod Ulamed, Lishma B'Las, the time is called Divrei Samat Torah B'Ahava. Amen, Amen. Shalom, shalom, sweetest and most beloved friends.